Hey everyone, welcome to the top 10 list. Welcome to my top 10 favorite Simpsons episodes. This is a recommendation people have been asking for a very long time. For years, people have been asking me to do my favorite Simpsons episodes. So I'm finally gonna give it to you. A lot of people asked me when I did my favorite Family Guy episodes with Lindsay. Some people wanted Lindsay to join in, but she hasn't seen as many Simpsons episodes as I have, so she's not very familiar with Simpsons. She knows Simpsons, but not as much as I do. I grew up with the shows, one of my top 20 favorite TV shows of all time. I may not like current Simpsons, but I still really enjoy Simpsons as a television show. I think seasons 1 to like 13 is fucking quality. You know, some of the best comedy I've ever seen. When Matt Groening, James L. Brooks, what's his name? Conan O'Brien were all writers of The Simpsons. That's when Simpsons was at its fucking best. But yeah, anyways, I still love it, even though it's lowered heavily in quality. I will still always be a fan of it, and I don't think it'll ever be a bad show. It may have lost its steam, but it's never going to be a bad show. So I thought I'd talk about my top 10 personal favorite episodes of The Simpsons. A lot of this is subjective. However, I do think my top 5 are the best episodes, personally. I think they are legit the best. It's very hard to debate that they are not the best, personally. That's what I think. But anyways, let's get to the top 10 list. And as always, before top 10 list, you gotta have your honorable mentions. My honorable mentions are Homer at the Bat, Lemon of Troy, Itchy, Scratchy, and Poochie, Mr. Plow, Who Shot Mr. Burns, both parts, Behind the Laughter, and Mayor to the Laugh. So, oh my god, I can't even read. Mayor to the Laughter Mob. That's what I meant to say. My god, I can't fucking read my own writing. Anyways, let's get to it. Coming in number 10 is Homer the Great. Homer the Great is a great episode. Most episodes dedicated to Homer is usually very funny. Homer the Great is really good because it's about Homer, how he was never accepted into clubs because people always found he was kind of like a freak. So he finds this like secret society underground club that's been controlling a lot of things. They call themselves the Stonecutters. Who leads the club is fucking hilarious because it's Patrick Stewart. It was great to see Patrick Stewart and Simpsons are Family Guy. And basically, yeah, Homer wants to join because he finds out Lenny and Carl are part of the Stonecutters. And then he joins, but he ends up fucking everything up because he destroys the parchment. But then they find a birthmark on Homer, and they think Homer is the chosen one, that he is destined to lead the Stonecutters to greatness. And just a lot of hilarity ensues. It's a really great, interesting episode about clubs and society, even cults and that, and it's just a fucking hysterical episode. And who can't love that song though? We do, we do.
Who controls the British crown? Who keeps the metric system down? We do, we do.
Atlantis off the maps.
Who keeps the Martians under wraps? We do, we do. Who holds back the electric car? Who makes Gutenberg a star? We do, we do. Who robs a fish of their sight?
Who rigged every Oscar night?
We do, we do.
Coming in number 9 is Marge versus the Monorail. Marge versus the Monorail was written by Conan O'Brien, and how Conan O'Brien tells the story how he came up with this episode is very funny. Is because he was like on the highway of Los Angeles, that he heard the monorail, the trains, and he was just like monorail, monorail, monorail. And then that's how he came up with this episode, Marge versus the Monorail. And basically the story of this episode is that Springfield comes into all this money from Mr. Burns, and they want to figure out what are they going to do with the monorail. So this shifty little guy comes and basically convinces them all to create a monorail system in Springfield. And then Homer has to become the monorail conductor, so that is just a problem right then and there. And Marge has a feeling that this is a very bad idea, and she's right, because the guy who supplies them with the monorail parts basically gives them faulty parts so he can bank the money himself and basically kill everyone who goes on the monorail. And this is just a fucking crazy episode, super funny. Come on, I call the big one Piney. And it has Leonard Nimoy in the episode, which is great. And just It's a very funny episode, very quotable episode. And who could forget the song Monorail, Monorail, Monorail?
Mono, don't!
Coming in at number 8 is Homer's Barbershop Quartet. Homer's Barbershop Quartet is a really great episode. This is a episode about a backstory of Homer because Marge and the kids find at this garage sale or something that there's an old record of Homer and his old band, and they like won a Grammy and stuff. And then Homer tells the story that he was in a barbershop quartet band with him, Apu, Barney, and Principal Skinner. And basically they got really famous. They produced all these albums and stuff, and eventually they broke up and everyone forgot about them. They're the B Sharps. And I really like this episode because it shows a very realistic depiction of a band. And I didn't think Simpsons would ever tackle something this, strange about a band and stuff. It's almost like watching This Is Spinal Tap, but Simpsons This Is Spinal Tap. It's really funny. It goes very deep into the characters and into their band and stuff, and how they break up, and how one of them thinks he's an artist, and one of them has to become a sellout. One of them, they even have to get rid of Chief Wiggum because he's originally part of the band, but because he's law enforcement, they think the band wouldn't be popular, so they kick him out of the band. And it's a really good episode about bands and stuff, and also got some great songs like "That's My Baby on Board." Really great songs, really great episode, and I really like it. It's always been one of my favorites, so I enjoy it. Coming in number 7 is Deep Space Homer. Deep Space Homer, fucking great episode. This is when Homer and Barney basically try to be astronauts and stuff, and really great episode because Homer wants to be accepted because he realizes that he's never been employee of the month and stuff, and he's always been treated badly at his work because, well, let's face it, he's a fucking imbecile. So he makes a joke at NASA, but NASA wants an everyday man to be an astronaut, and then Homer ends up being picked because Barney ends up being a drinker again and stuff, and it's very funny jokes in this episode. There's a lot of movie references. You got Buzz Aldrin saying a fucking hilarious line like, "Careful, they're ruffles." Super funny episode. It's a great space episode, and I absolutely love it, and it will never get old for me, and fantastic episode. Coming at number 6 is Itchy and Scratchy Land. Itchy and Scratchy Land was my favorite episode as a kid. This was always my favorite episode of The Simpsons. It changed over time, but the reason it was my favorite is because it's about amusement parks, and I loved amusement parks. Like, I loved Ontario Place, Marineland, and Canada's Wonderland. I was always a thing about amusement parks, and like my favorite Goosebumps episode was about amusement parks, and Are You Afraid of the Dark episode was about amusement parks. I loved everything about amusement parks. So the fact that there was a Simpsons episode about them going to an Itchy and Scratchy amusement park, I loved it. It was always a funny episode. It has a lot of slapstick in it, and with the Bort license plates, super funny shit. And that the very ending of the episode, they all have to fight these robotic Itchy and Scratchies and stuff, and they use the cameras to fight them off. Super funny, classic episode. If I did this episode as a kid, it would be my number 1, but I realized over time there's a lot better episodes, but still, this is one of the best episodes of The Simpsons, and I love it. I love it to death. Our top 5, like I said, these top 5 I think are the best episodes of The Simpsons. Coming to number 5 is Last Exit to Springfield. This is a lot of people's favorites, and I understand why. I really do. This is a fantastic episode about labor unions and stuff. People go through problems like this just in everyday life and stuff, and this is about Homer trying to get a dental plan for his family and try to get better labor laws. And Mr. Burns doesn't want to give it to them. And then Homer starts this, strike of the labor unions to get better money and better benefits for the employees and stuff. And there's a lot of great references. There's a Grinch reference. There's a Batman 1989 because Lisa gets the braces and stuff. And She does the Joker thing. Ah, ha, ha, ha. Who could not forget the most quotable thing of this whole episode is the dental plan. Lisa needs braces. Dental plan. Lisa needs braces. Also, the really great, powerful song Lisa sings during the labor union. Everything about this episode is absolutely fantastic. The writing is absolutely sharp. I think this is what won a few of their Emmys this episode. It was a really great episode. Super funny, very deep, and still holds very strong to this day.
So we'll march day and night
By the big cooling tower, they have the plans, but we have the power.
So we'll march day and night
By the big cooling tower, they have the plans, but we have the power.
Coming number 4 is Bart's Comment. Bart's Comment is a really great episode. This is all about society and how people can change on each other. This is a great episode, especially for nowadays. Especially what we're going through right now. Because this is basically almost like an end of the world kind of episode. And Bart finds a comet. But then they find out it's a meteor that's going to strike Springfield. And everybody's out of panic. Everyone's like chaos ensues and everything. Everyone wants to break into Ned Flanders' bomb shelter and stuff. It gets like pandemonium, almost like what's going on with the world right now. So this is actually a perfect episode to watch right now. And Homer thinks that nothing bad's gonna really happen and stuff, and the funniest thing is that's exactly what happens. Everything that Homer says, actually, it was what happens at the end of the episode, and that's why Bart and Lisa was like, "Wow, Dad was right. I'm scared too." it's a very funny episode, but it's also about togetherness because at the end of the episode, they all realize they all still have each other, even nothing bad happened. But if something bad did, they would stay together as a family, as a town, as a society. It actually has a very great message at the end of this episode, and it's a funny episode, it's a great episode, it's a classic one, and it's definitely one of my all-time favorites. All right, number 3 is my brother's favorite episode, and that is You Only Move Twice. You Only Move Twice. This is with Hank Scorpio. Hank Scorpio is my brother's favorite character. I understand why. He's one of my favorites too. He's voiced by Albert Brooks, and this is when Homer and the family have to move, and they have to move to a different town, and Homer gets a better job and stuff. He gets a new boss, Hank Scorpio, who is probably like the nicest guy ever, but you find out he's like an evil genius. He's like a Bond villain. He literally is like a James Bond villain. There's even a James Bond in the episode. Oh my god, that joke is so... I won't spoil the joke. It is fucking hilarious, the joke with the James Bond. Super funny. And Homer is so happy at this new job, in this new place, working for this evil mad genius, but his family isn't. Marge is bored because she has nothing to do. Bart is treated like he's a stupid kid. Lisa's allergic to everything, so she's like having all these allergies. None of them want to stay there. They all want to go back to Springfield. But Homer wants to stay there because he's actually liked and loved by all these people at this very evil corporation. And oh my god, just how the episode ends is so funny with the Denver Broncos. Just everything about this episode is sheer gold, and I love it. I think it's one of the funniest episodes of The Simpsons, and I absolutely love it. I think it's fantastic. All right, coming to number 2, this is a lot of people will debate that this is the best episode of The Simpsons because this won multiple Emmys and stuff. Everyone says this is one of the best. And it is. It's 22 short films about Springfield. 22 short films about Springfield is like the awards darling episode. Everyone thinks this is the greatest episode of The Simpsons. It is one of the greatest episodes of The Simpsons. It is fucking fantastic. The writing is top notch. The laughs are hysterical. And you actually get to explore 22 different characters. Characters you don't only see. Like, you get stories of Apu. You get stories of Professor Frank. You get stories of Chief Wiggum and Snake and everybody, just Moe. Everyone gets their own story and how they all connect with each other. And there's a lot of funny jokes. There's Pulp Fiction jokes in this, and that's probably the best part of the episode. It is a great episode and explores and dives so much into these characters, and I absolutely love it. I think it's one of the best episodes ever. It's not my favorite. I think it's the best episode. It's not my favorite. My all-time favorite episode of The Simpsons will always be Cape Fear. Cape Fear is the best episode, I think. I fucking love this episode. This is the third appearance by Sideshow Bob, and almost everything about Sideshow Bob. Like, my brother's favorite side character is Hank Scorpio. My favorite side character is Sideshow Bob, played by Kelsey Grammer. I fucking love it. Any episode with Sideshow Bob, I love. Even in the new episodes, I love fucking Sideshow Bob. He's a fucking great villain. He's so fucking funny. I love any time Sideshow Bob comes. I love it. Sideshow Bob's so great. This is the best episode with Sideshow Bob. That's why it's my favorite episode. Basically, he comes back and basically he wants to murder Bart. And the Simpsons have to go into witness protection to save Bart and stuff. And he follows them and stuff. And they become the Thompsons. And this entire episode is satirizing Cape Fear. And the way it does it is so funny and so great, and they reference Friday the 13th and all those other movies, and it is so funny. And the way Bart outsmarts Sideshow Bob at the ending is genius, and everything about this episode is fucking gold, and I easily think it's the best episode of The Simpsons, in my opinion. So yeah, that's my top 10 personal favorite Simpsons episodes. So I'm glad you guys tuned in and hope you guys enjoyed it. In the comment section below, give me your guys' top 10 favorite Simpsons episodes. Let me know in the comments below. Comment below, let me know. And as always, like this video.